So is there anything that a new director should be worried about as they come onto the board in terms of personal liability?
Always a question that directors want to know about, in part because back in the 80s, with the bank failures that we had, there were a lot of directors that were held responsible to those for those failures and incurred personal liability as a result of the actions of the bank. That changed a lot about 1995 when the legislature passed a statute that says co-op directors are indemnified by the co-op. That is, that they should not have personal liability for the actions or perhaps the failures of the co-op, so long as they exercise the typical business judgment that you would have in operating a company. And by that I mean if it's a matter of an accounting issue, they have an auditor that assists them. If it's a matter of a legal issue, they consult an attorney. If it's a matter of a hedging problem or something along that, they would consult someone in the commodity business. So a new director can be relieved of the worry and the constant pressure of saying, well, am I going to have a personal liability as a result of a failure of the co-op, so long as he exercises that amount of judgment that you would typically have in operating a business, in gathering the appropriate information and in talking with the professionals to help make the decision. So the business judgment rule would protect those new directors. However, that's not to say that a new director shouldn't be conscientious and try to learn as much as possible about things, about the corporation. In fact, he really needs to be up to speed the first day he comes aboard on the job. He needs to have a background about the co-op, and if that entails a little bit of study beforehand or attending TACC matters or what have you, even before they take their position, that's always a good thing.
Is it possible then that a single director could get, well, singled out in a case as far as not being prepared?
It
or not
could
having
be
done
possible.
the job?
It could be possible if that director had absolutely no knowledge of what was going on with the co-op, perhaps made a decision that management of the co-op took to heart, and it was one of those situations where it wasn't a deal where the whole board was unified, but there was one director that had his direction that he wanted the co-op to go. Perhaps the co-op takes that direction and it's wrong, and that direction is founded upon poor information, poor knowledge, the fact they didn't consult a professional. But generally speaking, if the board as a whole consults professionals, if the board as a whole does their homework, all of them protects the whole. Not very well said, but all of the individual directors can be assured that if the board as a whole is doing what they're supposed to be doing, then they individually ought not to have personal liability.
So what's the best piece of advice you could give to a new director?
Get educated. Ask as many questions as you can possibly ask about the co-op, about things that the co-op is involved in. Get as much information as you can. The one thing that's always going to be the fail-safe maneuver for any co-op director is to be as well educated, as well informed as you can possibly be about the co-op. And I don't mean that from the sense of having an MBA or something like that. I mean it from the sense of getting a hands-on, boots-on-the-ground knowledge of what's going on in the co-op and what's going on in the co-op's realm of business opportunity and decisions.
That's great. Thank you. Yeah,